The CHL banning Russian players and Canadian players from their series. We have hockey players not being allowed to get drafted. We have anti-Russia sentiment going on. What is going on? Okay, gang. So I wanted to make a little video here talking about the CHL, the bans on athletes again, and how this is affecting pretty much us, well, in Canada as well. I want to preface this by saying, of course, again, this is not a distraction, okay, because something is happening here in Canada. There's more discrimination happening in Canada towards athletes. Again, of course, in the CHL, which is the Canadian Hockey League. So I just want to preface this by saying, although, we're talking about a little bit of Russia, Ukraine, but it also is affecting us in Canada here. I'm going to tie that to the CHL and, of course, across Canada, how the discrimination is affecting us here in Canada as well. So what's happening now? So the Canadian Hockey League, the CHL, has banned the Canadian-Russia series from going on because, of course, they're trying to get back at Vladimir Putin. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't see how preventing pucks going into a net is going to get back at Vladimir Putin. I don't think Putin cares. I don't think Vladimir Putin's going, oh my gosh, we can't score goals on Canada. Oh, we got to get out of Ukraine. We got to withdraw from Ukraine. Oh my God, we can't put pucks in a net. Obviously, that's not affecting Vladimir Putin directly here. It's affecting the players that can't play. We have Russian and Belarusian players that are coming over to Canada, trying to make a living, trying to make a career, trying to pursue their dream. And then we have the CHL banning these players from playing hockey. I don't think that that's right. That's total discrimination based on place of origin and nationality. This isn't right. And not only that, they're also hurting the Canadian hockey players. Because now, unless they reschedule the series against someone else, which they might, I don't know, I'm not sure yet, now the Canadian hockey players can't even play. So we're hurting Canadian hockey players as well. This isn't right. I don't agree with just a total outright ban on everything Russian athlete. On banning athletes, on banning people from competing, because it hurts the athletes, it hurts the people, it doesn't hurt the government, obviously, and I think a lot of people are seeing that, judging from a lot of comments, online and everything. So they have also, the CHL has banned, I think it's 16 to 17-year-olds as well, Russian and Belarusian players, from being drafted. Once again, this has no effect on Vladimir Putin. This has no effect on the government. You can't punish people for the actions of their government. These players have nothing to do with what Vladimir Putin's doing. They have nothing to do with the invasion of Ukraine. The CHL is getting this wrong. They're taking this overboard completely. This is like human rights violations, not only, on maybe not necessarily on Canadians, because they're not canceling Canadian hockey, they're not discriminating against the Canadian players, but this is discrimination against Russian players and Belarusian players. It's outright discrimination. And I'm sorry, but I don't agree with this at all. You're hurting the players. You're hurting these athletes that are trying to make a living and have their dreams come true on Canada soil, doing what they love to do, play hockey, and you're punishing them. It's guilty by association here. That's not the way to be going about this. And I think we have a Canadian organization. They're not a business, more like an agency organization. The Canadian Hockey League outright, flat out discriminating against these people. This is happening in Canada. So this isn't necessarily a distraction to talk about this, because this is happening here in Canada. More violations. More based on guilt by association, just because you were born in Russia. Not cool. I'm not impressed with this. And also, of course, to tie this in as well, I'm not sure if this happened in America or the US, but I was watching TSN, I think it was yesterday, TSN, Canadian outlet, and Rod Smith was interviewing a Ukrainian hockey manager. He's lived out in the US or Canada last 20, 30 years, he said. And he was saying that some of his Russian hockey players that he manages, they're going out in the streets, walking around, getting recognized, and they're having threats made against them. Some people even commenting online towards these Russian players about, I think, something to do with their kids or their family, and insulting them and saying things on the street like, you better leave this country now, get out of here. Like, this is becoming like a big, very anti-Russian sentiment happening, probably not just in Canada, probably not just in sports, not just in America, but everywhere. And I think it says a lot, where unfortunately we have to say things like, be careful not to just outright discriminate against any Russian person. Let's not start hating on people that are Russian. Let's not treat Russian people any differently, because it's going to happen every day goes on with all these Russian boycotts of hockey players and products and this and that. There's going to be like anti-Russian sentiment built up between people who follow the media religiously, follow their government religiously. They're going to start turning on people just because they were born in Russia. We got to be, I know there's a lot of, awake people, like me, like a lot of other people who know who know not to treat Russian people, differently here on out. But it's pretty sad that we got to remind people not to do this type of thing. It's going to get to that point here in Canada, here in, down in the US, everywhere else around the world. There's going to be people that are going to be turning on people just because they're Russian, or just because they're from Belarus, or just because they might be a second generation Russian, or whatever the the issue might be. So it's really sad that what governments and media are doing with all these bans and restrictions and sanctions. It does create, it will unfortunately create anti-Russian sentiment amongst a lot of people who are just going to hate on them just because they're Russian. And it's unfortunate that that's what happens. Just like what happens with us, we don't want to get, the V, and we get hated on because of that, So we got to be careful not to do that, obviously, because that's probably what's going to happen amongst some people. It's unfortunate. Now, again, with this hockey thing, so they want to, ban Russian hockey players. They want to cancel series. They want to not draft them. But it's like, the obvious thing here is, why were they allowed to go to China? Why were they allowed to compete in the Olympics in Beijing just a couple months ago, or last month? With all these, reported human rights violations happening in China, and the way China treats their citizens, and with the social credit score. Why was it okay to send Canadian athletes there? Or why was it okay to send other countries' athletes there and not outright boycott them or ban athletes from going into China for X reason? That was okay, obviously. People are bringing up that point a lot. Why was it okay to go, or let me see. The U.S. has been involved in a lot of invasions over the last many decades, bombing many countries in the Middle East. But we never boycotted U.S. athletes. We never treated U.S. athletes any different when they came to Canada or when they went to other countries. We never boycotted them, or we never, punished U.S. athletes. In baseball, in hockey, we never not drafted them. We never canceled series because, their country was doing this in that country. So why all of a sudden now with Russian athletes are we doing this? This makes no sense. This is really hypocritical. It obviously serves a narrative. It's an agenda. They're making some type of a point, obviously, because a lot of the Western countries, dislike Russia and Putin. So they're just trying to do whatever they can to, get back at Russia. But the byproduct is you're hurting innocent people, you're hurting children, you're hurting kids for no apparent reason. And you're creating, anti-Russian, I don't want to say that term, but you're creating a lot of that sentiment amongst people. So the hypocrisy with these not banning other athletes in other countries for going and playing sports in other countries, it's beyond hypocritical. It's unfortunate. And another thing I want to touch on, since we're on this athlete thing as well, EA Sports. Like, what are you guys doing? EA Sports, you're taking out Russian teams, you're taking out Russian national teams from your soccer games, FIFA 2022 or whatever, and the same thing with your NHL 2022 hockey game. You're eliminating Russian teams from your video games. Is that seriously necessary? Why are we just always like trying to cancel Russia here? It's not right to be... It's one thing to pose sanctions on Russia, on Putin in certain ways, financially, economically. That's one thing. But when you're taking this to eliminating Russian teams from video games, again, how does this affect Putin? How is this going to withdraw Putin from Ukraine? It doesn't. It makes EA Sports and other agencies look bad. Like they're just being either controlled, or they're just taking things too far, or they're just rolling with this to no end. It just doesn't look good, and it's silly and it's pointless. There's no... When has this ever happened? When another country has either bombed or invaded another country and we eliminate them from video games? It's never happened. I've never heard of this. This is so silly. And you just got to wonder, like, what's the bigger picture? Why are they doing this? Why is EA Sports doing this? Why is the CHL doing this? You know, it makes you think what else is going on behind the scenes, unfortunately, you know. So it's just unfortunate this has happened. So, you know, as Canadians, you know, be very vigilant, obviously, not to treat, you know, Russian people any differently, or anyone any differently, no matter what. No, we all know this. We all know this. It's the people that buy into the media religiously and government religiously that, you know, we got to watch out for them, unfortunately, and make sure they're not mistreating people just based on ethnicity and nationality and everything because of what the media and governments are doing. You know, it's unfortunate. So, yeah, it's, you know, it's a topic du jour. Again, this isn't a distraction because some of this is happening in Canada. Again, the CHL is Canadian, a Canadian sports league, obviously. Obviously, yes, a Canadian organization agency is discriminating brutally against, you know, Russian and Belarusian players, outright discrimination for their nationality and for their place of origin. So this is hitting home, and we got to make sure that, you know, we got to see if this is going to expand into through other maybe Canadian teams. We hope that, you know, Canadian hockey teams won't discriminate against their Russian players as well, which could lead to a big, you know, backlash from us and from other people as well. So hopefully this won't keep expanding into other Canadian teams or in Canada in other ways as well. You know, this topic right here, in my opinion, is not a distraction. Okay. We still know what's going on in Canada. I still know gas prices are skyrocketing in BC. The mandates are still here. The restrictions are still here. I know Bonnie Henry's warning about, you know, even though restrictions might be relaxed in a month, they could come back in the fall. It's like they're already doing this to us. You know, the mandates and restrictions aren't ending here in BC. I know that. There's still events to go to out here. It's not a distraction, but it's an opinion I have on these topics. And obviously, the CHL, like I said, is Canadian, and there's discrimination happening in Canada, and it's very unfortunate. Okay? So that's it, you guys. That's all I got to say about this for right now. So if you like what you see and like what you hear, please subscribe to me on all my social media outlets. YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Telegram, Rumble, all RPK ULBABA, and you can find me on my Facebook page, Real Ryan Kulbaba, KULBABA. And that's it for now, guys. So until next time, thanks a lot.